The fight between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni keeps getting intense as they head to trial soon.
Blake Lively is speaking up after Justin Baldoni filed a second lawsuit, this time a bombshell lawsuit against herself and husband Ryan Reynolds. Lively's legal team is now responding, saying it's another chapter pulled from the abuser playbook.
I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled.
Accusing her co-star of sexual harassment and launching a smear campaign against her.
Nothing good ever comes from pointing the finger at somebody.
This ends with me. I'm done. I'm tired.
Many speculations, facts, and theories have been passed regarding the things that went on between Blake and Justin on the set of It Ends With Us.
But when the movie ultimately premiered in August of 2024, Baldoni lauded Lively's performance as a, quote, strong, funny, and intelligent heroine.
Drama surrounding It Ends With Us has been all the talk lately, and unfortunately, with so much attention, Blake Lively has been put in the hot seat on social media.
During the It Ends With Us promotional tour, Blake Lively faced public backlash for a perceived insensitive approach to endorsing the film. Some critics called out her focus on marketing her beauty line during press interviews and for not directly addressing the film's important themes of domestic violence. The fallout from these allegations against Justin Baldoni have led to many damning setbacks for the filmmaker and actor. His talent agency, WME, quickly parted ways with him following Blake Lively's lawsuit.
Talent agency giant WME telling the New York Times it dropped Baldoni from its roster, just one day after Lively filed a legal complaint accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation.
Lively, however, remains represented by the agency alongside her husband, Ryan Reynolds. Furthermore, Vital Voices, an organization that had previously honored Baldoni for, quote, elevating women and helping to end domestic violence, rescinded his award in the aftermath of the suit.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are all smiles amid their ongoing legal battle. On Sunday night, the couple attended the SNL 50, the anniversary special in New York City. Following the carpet, Ryan and Blake also made a cameo in the live special, with Ryan alluding to the drama.
Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
What we're talking about is so important and so meaningful that we're able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. Like, that's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part.
I'm a little speechless. It feels very surreal. I probably should have gathered myself before I stepped on the carpet and took all of this in. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to Colleen for trusting me, for writing such a beautiful book. I'm grateful to her mother for allowing it to happen, because really this was in honor of her mom.
Blake Lively was once untouchable, television sweetheart, red carpet darling, the perfect blend of talent and charm. But over the last year, her well-curated image has been dragged through the mud in one swirling controversy after another. What if the person we all admired is hiding a past far darker than anyone ever suspected? The seemingly flawless aura around Blake Lively is beginning to crack, revealing a trail of betrayal, alleged bullying, and ruthless ambition. How did one of Hollywood's brightest stars transform into its biggest villain, practically overnight? For over a decade, Blake Lively appeared to be the golden standard of modern Hollywood success. She wasn't just another actress, she was the beloved style icon who graced every talk show with an easy laugh and glimmering smile. Tabloids loved her. From her impeccably styled outfits to her picture-perfect marriage with Ryan Reynolds, the public saw her as the embodiment of grace. But as rumors have emerged, it's become clear that not everyone behind the scenes shares that rosy view. There are whispers that Blake's practiced warmth might be nothing more than a performance, carefully orchestrated to protect her from scrutiny. Before, these were just rumors, easily dismissed as the usual Hollywood gossip. Now, however, scandalous footage and lawsuit details have people looking at Blake's every move and wondering, was it all just an act from the very beginning? But what if all that perfection was just a cover for something much darker? Long before she was an A-list powerhouse, Blake Lively became a household name on the hit show Gossip Girl. Playing the sun-kissed, effortlessly cool Serena van der Woodsen, she seemed destined for stardom. Yet behind that multi-million-dollar smile lurked stories that never quite reached the mainstream. Stories of alleged feuds and quiet power struggles. Some insiders claim Blake orchestrated behind-the-scenes drama, even pitting cast members against each other when it suited her. While no official statements ever confirmed these allegations, eagle-eyed fans noticed that her relationships with co-stars like Penn Badgley and Leighton Meester were, at best, lukewarm off-screen. People who worked on set described a tension that went beyond typical co-star rivalry, sparking speculation that Blake was steering the narrative off-camera, deciding who belonged in the in crowd and who got iced out. In fact, one old interview from around 2009 features Blake casually mentioning how she once felt such animosity toward Penn Badgley that she turned other cast members against him. Whether she meant it as a joke or an overblown confession, it startled fans. Was this the real Blake Lively peeking through that glossy exterior? If so, it was a glimpse that would come back to haunt her years later, as more stories hinted at a pattern of control and manipulation. Yet this was just the beginning of a pattern nobody saw coming. After Gossip Girl, Blake graduated to Hollywood films and bigger red carpets. She headlined major productions, each time showcasing that trademark charisma and impeccable fashion sense. Publicly, directors praised her as professional and dedicated. Yet off the record, rumors have persisted that Blake often tried to assume more authority than her contract granted, clashing with people in charge. Whispers circulated that she would make suggestions that slowly edged out the original vision of a project, leaving directors frustrated. Some labeled it ambition, while others called it sabotage. Did she overstep, or was she merely passionate? That debate followed her from set to set. However, the real controversy would erupt when she teamed up with Justin Baldoni, a rising director who, unlike some legendary filmmakers, didn't have the unstoppable clout to fight back once Blake allegedly tried to seize control. Those claims might have remained just background noise if not for the most recent revelations. For years, Blake Lively seemed unstoppable, refined, clever, and perfectly in command of her image. But the moment she stepped on the same stage as Baldoni, the entire house of cards began to tremble. And in the chaos, we started to see what might be the real Blake Lively. But nothing compares to the firestorm that erupted when she joined forces with one rising director. Justin Baldoni was best known for his work on Jane the Virgin and smaller directing projects that showcased emotional depth. Then he acquired the rights to Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, It Ends With Us. Fans were ecstatic. Finally, this beloved novel was getting the big screen treatment from a passionate filmmaker who understood its sensitive subject matter. Everything shifted when Blake Lively came on board to star. At first, it was a dream scenario, an A-list actor championing a film adaptation fans cared about. Yet the dream soured quickly. Word spread that Blake began pushing for script changes that weren't run by Baldoni first. Then more rumors leaked about her effectively sidelining him from decisions he was supposed to oversee, like how certain scenes should be shot, or even how the final cut should look. What started as creative disagreements behind closed doors escalated into an all-out standoff. Some claimed that the final film released in theaters was more Blake Lively's vision than Justin Baldoni's, even though he was both the producer and director on paper. Perhaps the most shocking rumor was that Baldoni wasn't allowed to attend his own premiere on the main floor, that he was effectively hidden away while Blake soaked up all the spotlight. True or not, the mere suggestion that she had that level of control was enough to spark outrage. Months later, a lawsuit emerged. Baldoni alleged he had been defamed, misrepresented, and pushed out of his own project. The text messages, the behind-the-scenes footage, everything pointed to a situation where Blake had orchestrated a takeover so skillful that Baldoni could barely recognize his own movie. And that's when old interviews and receipts started emerging, painting an even darker picture of how she might have honed these tactics over the years. And as the tension escalated, another old interview surfaced, one that changed everything. While the legal battles raged, an obscure press junket clip involving Blake Lively and a Swedish journalist began making the rounds online. Initially recorded during a promotional tour for Cafe Society, it showed a side of Blake that was anything but America's sweetheart. In the footage, Blake appears dismissive and mocking. She makes remarks about the journalist's body in a way that many viewers found demeaning. What made it more shocking was how at ease she seemed, giving off a mean-spirited vibe that clashed sharply with her gentle maternal persona that fans had grown to love. The journalist later revealed that she'd kept the video under wraps for years, fearing retaliation from Blake's powerful circles. But with Blake's name now embroiled in scandal, she decided it was time to release the evidence. The revelation collided with Blake's public stance on female empowerment, especially around body image. She had more than once spoken about positivity, self-love, and support among women. Yet here she was, apparently ridiculing someone on camera. Suddenly, everything Blake had said about women supporting women felt hollow. Supporters rushed to defend her, claiming it was a misunderstanding or a bad day. But for many, it solidified an unsettling suspicion that the bright, friendly persona was just a mask, and that behind it, a calculating figure lurked, unafraid to bring others down if it served her agenda. Still, that wasn't the only relationship under fire. As the negativity brewed, many wondered how Ryan Reynolds felt about all this. The two had always showcased a playful, loving banter online, often trading jokes and compliments. That changed abruptly when insiders noticed Ryan Reynolds had unfollowed Justin Baldoni on Instagram. With no official explanation, it was widely assumed that Blake had something to do with it. Leaked messages hinted that Blake referred to Ryan and Taylor Swift as her dragons, or personal enforcers, powerful allies she could count on when she needed a narrative to go her way. Ryan's silent Instagram move spoke volumes. It seemed to signal to the world whose side he was on, no questions asked. But Taylor Swift was another story. She'd appeared close to Blake for years, occasionally spending holidays together and publicly cheering each other on. Yet as the scandal involving Blake grew louder, Taylor slipped into the background. Some fans speculated that she didn't want her brand overshadowed by the raging drama. Others wondered if even Taylor had her limits. Perhaps she was wary of endorsing someone under fire for alleged manipulative behavior. Whatever the reason, Taylor never stepped in to defend Blake publicly, and her usual public warmth toward Lively turned chilly. It was a quiet signal that maybe, just maybe, the tide was turning. When a star as big as Taylor Swift quietly backs away, you have to ask, did Blake's controversies become too toxic even for close friends? Then, in one final twist, even Blake's biggest ally decided to back away. The swift departure of many allies from Blake's corner signaled that these stories weren't simply tabloid fodder, they had legs. Even It Ends With Us author Colleen Hoover, who had once publicly cheered Blake's involvement, started wiping references to her from social media. Initially, fans assumed Hoover was just avoiding the drama, but the timing was too precise to be a coincidence. Industry insiders say Colleen Hoover felt disrespected by the changes made to her story and the overshadowing of the original director who'd first championed the project. Or possibly she just wanted to avoid the PR nightmare swirling around Lively. Whatever the underlying motive, the silence from Hoover was deafening. At this point, Blake Lively's legal team has remained tight-lipped about the specifics of the controversy, beyond generic denials of wrongdoing. Most of Hollywood is waiting to see how the lawsuits will unfold, especially the one that questions whether Blake manipulated the media, tarnished Baldoni's reputation, and lied to secure creative control. If Baldoni's receipts hold up, Blake could be facing an even bigger backlash. For fans, the situation is heartbreaking. Many adored her, believing her kindness to be genuine. Now they're left with confusion and frustration, struggling to reconcile two conflicting images. Some remain loyal, insisting she's the target of overblown attacks. Others see the pattern of alleged bullying and power grabs as undeniable. Meanwhile, talk shows and social media pages buzz with theories on what might happen next. Could this all blow over with the right spin? Or will the negative spotlight become too intense for even Blake Lively to handle? A-listers have rebounded from scandals before. Yet when the allegations involve systematically dismantling a director's dream project, humiliating journalists, and turning co-stars into enemies, the hole might be too deep to climb out of unscathed. With so many bridges burned, is there any going back? For years, Blake Lively was hailed as a breath of fresh air in an industry often tainted by scandal and ego. But between the lawsuits, the alleged backstabbing of colleagues, and old interviews that paint a far more sinister portrait, it's hard to ignore the possibility that she's been playing us all along. From turning co-stars against each other on Gossip Girl to allegedly wresting control from Justin Baldoni, the same pattern seems to repeat. Charm them at first, then quietly orchestrate a takeover behind the scenes. The real question, can someone with that much star power face genuine consequences? Or will she manage to spin the story once again? Hollywood is known for forgiving its biggest names, but these latest revelations cut dangerously close to the bone. They call into question not just her professional ethics, but her moral character. At this point, the industry and her fans are watching closely. Some believe she'll issue an apology tour, others think she'll double down and deny everything. But no matter what happens next, one thing is certain. The serene surface Blake Lively has projected all these years is cracked beyond repair. The only question left is whether she'll ever own up to the wreckage, or if she'll keep wielding her behind-the-scenes power in a desperate bid to salvage her reputation. Will the real Blake Lively please stand up? Because after everything that's come out, Hollywood wants answers. And the rest of us can't help but wonder how many more secrets are still waiting to be exposed.